Yo, what is up, you guys? It's Evan, or Switch Everything, and I know it's been a minute since I put out a commentary style of video, but some information leaked out or came out today. 2K tweeted out that they were releasing their NBA 2K20 blog, talking about a lot of updates that are coming with the game, and I just wanted to share some of that stuff with you guys. A lot of the stuff in the blog itself is kind of boring, or it's talking about AIs and stuff that you guys don't really care about, so I'm going to skip over that and give you guys some of the key points that I saw in the blog. First thing was that they're updating their motion engine, so what this kind of means is in NBA 2K18, they didn't really have any sort of animations to guide you anywhere on the court. In NBA 2K19, they have like some small ones where they're like pushing you to the corner if you're going to the corner. What they're basically saying is that they're going to have it sort of be kind of like NBA 2K19 going into 20, so it's going to be like some animations are going to be there for where you're going on the court, and some animations are still not going to be there, like in NBA 2K17 where like you had pretty much an animation going every single place on the court. Like it was really animation driven where you were moving around, whereas in NBA 2K18 there wasn't really any at all. In NBA 2K19 I think they kind of perfected that, and it's probably going to be more of the same going into 2K20. Ball handling, they updated saying that there's no rhythm dribbles really, is what I've heard basically, that there's no rhythm dribbles in the game, so like there's not a standing rhythm dribble or standing size up that you're going to be doing. That's going to be like kind of like giving you a speed boost to go in one area. It's sort of like you're creating your own moves using the different combinations they're giving you. There's different first steps. That's a new badge too. There's different first steps that come along with different speed with ball. So the higher your speed with ball, the more access you have to more advanced or quicker first step moves or animations. So these range from De'Aaron Fox to John Wall, Kobe, Quick, Shifty, LeBron, James Harden, Steph, all these different kinds of first step packages that they're going to be having. There's going to be over 27 from what I saw in the vlog. Defense, they're changing the defensive system so there's a read and react sort of system where the better defender you are, the more of an arrow you have, and the arrow kind of guides you to the direction that the ball handler is going. Now, I could see this working in both ways, where if you're not dealing with that good of an offensive player, you can sort of read that arrow and you can just kind of run into them and kind of jam them, and that should stop them, right? Unless they're blow-bys. But if you have a really good offensive player, they know you see that arrow, and they can use that to their advantage to kind of pretend like they're going one way and then go back another. So, you know, take it how you want. The read and react system could be really good and really OP for defense, but I think it'll just be kind of, I don't know, something that people don't really look at that much at the top levels of defense on 2K. They're changing the layup and slasher sort of animations, so they're going to have a lot more contact animations, but they're also going to have a lot more different finishing animations, sort of like real-life basketball, where, you know, if a defender's going straight up, maybe you'll bump into them, but you'll put your arm around them and kind of like fillet it up and get a bucket. But also, they're changing rim protecting defense, so they're adding a lot more snatch blocks. They're adding a lot more hard fouls and contact up in the air to sort of get people to get stopped going up when you're a slasher or you're a guard going up in the paint. And then finally, there's not going to be any more dexing. As far as I know, they probably fixed that animation dexing where you could celebrate into a dex. Sort of, that's sort of what it was in 2K19. 2K18 was a little bit different. But they're going to bring back sort of like off-ball movement buttons, or, you know, the right stick movement. So off-ball, you can sort of kind of juke somebody off ball around a screen or something like that. They're going to bring that back into the game. Personally, whenever I was using that, I don't think it was that OP, but back then I wasn't really playing that competitively anyway, so we'll just have to wait and see how that kind of works for off-ball movement, especially for sharps in the game. Other things that I saw in the article were that there's 80 badges in 2K20. So over 80 badges. They added a whole lot of different badges. From what I saw, they were just talking about rebounding. They have like a rebounding specialist badge, but they also have a worm badge. And a worm badge basically makes it so that you can kind of like weave around box outs and go for boards. And then a box badge helps you box out people that are trying to go around you for boards. So there's a whole lot of different badges for a whole lot of different small things in the game that I'm really excited to see and see how that works out. They also talked about how takeover is going to be less OP. So takeover is not going to be, you know, completely animation based, like, you know, the post scoring takeover where you just literally just chuck people out of the way. Like, that's not going to be a thing anymore. Slashing, from what I heard, they're toning it down or removing these animations. So I'm assuming for slashers, you're not going to be able to just run through the entire team and just get a blow by. They're probably going to tone that down heavily. For playmakers, maybe slightly less ankle breakers. For sharps, maybe slightly less OP or deep three-pointers that are going to be getting greens on. But that's just, I mean, that's speculation at this point. But I'm assuming for, especially post-scoring, people are really obsessed with that, especially in Park. Post-scoring, I'm sure, for the takeover, it's going to be heavily nerfed. But they did add some badges for post-scorers, too, and we'll get into that in a second. So, after I looked at this blog, I went on to Twitter, and a lot of people were asking Mike Wang, one of the 2K developers, questions about the game and about the blog and stuff, and they were asking him things about badges and stuff. So we're going to go over that real quick, because there was a lot of important stuff that he was talking about. The first thing that somebody asked was, can you elaborate on the new badges? How many more are there? And then Mike Wang basically said that they reworked a lot of the different badges. There are a lot returning from NBA 2K19, but more balanced or used in different ways for different builds. So like Limitless Range isn't Limitless Range anymore, it's Range Extender, and it boosts three-pointers, but it also boosts deep twos. The next one from T-Mac was, were there some badges that were removed just to it being a wasted badge, like Charge Card or anything like that? And Mike Wang basically said that they tried to cut badges that we felt that nobody would ever want, like Charge Card. So, I mean, Charge Card is kind of one of those badges that, I mean, no one really cared about. Not even defenders, really. That was just like a wasted badge. So, I mean, it makes sense. I don't really see anybody caring about that. Next up, we got Mike King, and he asks, could you speak on whether or not there are any changes or balancing of the difficult shots badge particularly? And Mike Wang basically said, as a blanket statement, we pretty much retooled every badge, like he already said. So I advise going into 2K20 looking at badges as a clean slate. Many OP badges were heavily nerfed, and we'll be doing a lot more badge updates post-ship to continue balancing, so after they ship it. So basically, they're going to be doing a lot of updates, or so they say. They usually don't. But a lot of the badges have been changed a lot, so don't expect your favorite badges to be exactly the same. And like Limitless Range completely changed from a different name. Posterizer completely changed. Difficult Shots seems like it's gonna be heavily changed or nerfed. We'll see. Groovy Tony 62 asked, contested layups still falling at an alarming rate? And Mike Wang basically said that layup defense is very different this year. Less complaints because open layups are going in, which I get pissed about because I'm on my slasher with like a 99 standing layup and I'm missing layups that are open, or they're saying they're open, but I'm still missing them. And so he's saying that a lot of those layups are not going to be missing. And a lot of the layups that were contested are probably not going to be going in. So like if you're a PG and you're going up in the paint and you're getting a lightly, sometimes even a heavily, that's probably not going to be dropping. So that's good to see. It's probably still going to be slashers, are still probably going to be making some of those layups. Next question from Nick Davis is there still the rhythm dribble? Do you get to choose every single individual animation? And Mike Wang basically says that there is no rhythm dribble. The right stick flick is a single move. It's not a combo anymore. There's no more combos in 2K20, so you have to learn how to do each individual move on its own. So like the Steph Curry like behind the back, or the Trae Young between the legs, you're gonna have to learn how to do those moves on their own. And also he's basically confirming that rhythm dribbles are not in 2K20. Hoodie Merc asked, have you guys ever thought about bringing back Interceptor badge or recreating something where Pickpocket and Interceptor badges are one badge together? And then Mike Wang basically just confirmed that Interceptor is back. And that doesn't really mean that much because in 2K19, Interceptor wasn't a badge, but you could pretty much intercept any pass you wanted to. You didn't even really have to be a defensive build. It really just mattered if you had a long enough wingspan. For me, as a shot slasher, I was noticing that I was getting a lot of tip passes, but I wasn't really getting full-on like interceptions. So I'm assuming that defensive players, defensive builds, or builds that have like defensive secondary going into 2K20 are going to get a lot of actual interceptions, just full-on like passing lane steals. And people that are not defensive builds, like a full-on like sharp or a playmaker or a point guard type of build, they're not really going to be getting steals, but they'll be getting tip passes, sort of like in 2K19. Sid67 asked Mike Wang, is there a badge called First Step? And Mike Wang said, yes, there's a badge called Quick First Step. And that was the badge I was talking about earlier, where you're going to have different styles like Jamal Crawford or Steph Curry or LeBron James or Shifty or Quick or James Harden. All these different sort of like signature animations and styles for your first step when you are getting the ball and either triple threading or taking your first dribble. Next question from Raf CRD is Fade Ace badge back? And Mike Wang said that there isn't Fade Ace, but there is deep fades, so that when you're taking a post fade from really far out, so like a deep two, that badge will help you. I'm assuming that badge is probably not going to be unlockable for a majority of builds, but maybe for like pure post scorers, you get that on like Gold or Hall of Fame, depending on what position you are. Kingpin Guwap asked, what about shot contests this year? In the Vegas event, I noticed that there were percentages explaining the coverage rather than heavily contest and stuff like that. And Mike Wang basically said that we're always trying to improve the logic for shot contests and adding more tools to be able to tune different aspects for it in different modes. And being able to see the percentage of a contest rather than generalized text should help gamers understand the system better. So what he's basically saying is that this has always been part of the game, but they've always just been showing you a text instead for an open or for a lightly or for a heavily. So now instead of seeing that, you're going to be seeing like a percentage of a contest. So like, you know, you may be open, but it may still be like a 7% contest or whatever it takes to be an open shot still. I'm Farmer asked, volume shooter potentially being returned. And then Mike Wang says, volume shooter is also back, but with better logic, boost your ratings if you can maintain your field goal attempts per minute. So I think what it was in previous 2Ks is it was based off of either shooting a lot of shots or missing a lot of shots. If you were missing a lot of shots, you were going to shoot even worse. If you were making a lot of shots, you were going to make even more. But what they're saying now is that if you are shooting a lot and you're shooting often, that will boost your stats a little bit. The next question was from Fly, and he asked, are elite off-ball players separated with a badge, or is there an attribute? And Mike Wang said that the slippery off-ball badge is going to give you more success with new off-ball juke moves and get open stuff. I blogged about it. Also helps you get free from defenders who try to jam you up. Jers the Curse did a fantastic job on the off-ball upgrades. So that means off-ball movement's back, like I said, but you're also going to be able to get a badge for it, and the higher it is, the more you're going to be able to get open. I'm assuming that Sharps and Shot Creators will probably have the highest slippery off-ball. The next question is coming in from Ryan Mannion, and he asks, how will speed boosting work this year? Mike Wang says, not a fan of the term speed boosting, but first step launches are now tied to speed with ball rating instead of ball handling. There are 3 tiers of launch animation packs that we talked about already, and they're tied to your speed with ball rating, and also quick first step badge enhances these ratings on top of that. So quick first step and also your speed with ball rating come into effect when it comes to your first step and also your packages that you're going to be getting. Frank G asked, you guys bringing back post hook specialist? And Mike Wang said, yes, it's called deep hooks. It's the Kareem badge. That's really cool to see. Post scorers will be more like post scorers and less like athletics in the paint. They won't be bodying people, but they'll be able to make finesse shots like fades and post hooks. Twain Mitchell said, will we see a step back badge this year? And this is cool to see. Mike Wang said that the ankle breaker is still the main badge for more effective step back dribble moves, but there's a new badge called Space Creator for more effective step back shots. So he's saying that the best way to get a step back into a dribble combo is still ankle breaker, but there's a new badge for actual shot creators that kind of like enhances your step back jump shots. So that's really cool to see. I'm really happy about that because I actually am one of the few people that uses step back jump shots. I did it a lot in 2K18. I did it a little bit in 2K19 with my shot slasher when I had takeover, but in 2K18 when I was a shot maker, I did a lot of step back jump shots and it was really effective for me. So it's cool to see that they're bringing a badge. Next question coming in from It's Just CC. He asked Mike Wang, is the shot meter changeable? And Mike Wang basically says it's just like in 19, but there's new green release effects like the quick flash, the water splash, and the paint splat, which we haven't had in previous 2Ks. And then Brenton Ackers asks, are the green release animations only seen by the player or by everyone? And Mike Wang says that everyone can see them, and there's no more lying about fake greens. But if you played a lot of 19, you could already tell if a shot was green or not, because if it was green, it would always be a swish, and if it was a white that went in, it would rattle in usually. And the next question by Joven Cooper, he asked, will there be more rebounding badges or animations in 2K20? And Mike Wang says that there's going to be 3 new badges added: Rebound Chaser, which helps chase down long rebounds; Worm, which helps get around box outs; and Box, which makes it tougher for worms. So it's cool to see that they're adding more depth to rebounding badges, because rebounding is a lot more complex than a lot of people think. Next question by Ron Got Skills is, will takeovers still have overpowered animations? And like I said earlier, Mike Wang says basically that OP animations have been pretty much toned down or removed from 2K20 for takeovers. So that's cool to see. And then the final question is from Lozar. He asks, is Posterizer still in the game or has it been reworked? And like Mike Wang said earlier, a lot of the badges have been completely reworked, so just assume until you play the game that pretty much every badge has been changed or altered in some way. But Mike Wang says that Posterizer is gone. 2K20 will have Contact Finisher instead. That will help dunkers posterize people, but also help smaller players who play below the rim finish with contact. So I'm assuming that, it's just going to be just like Posterizer, but I think it's going to be a little bit toned down. You're not going to be dunking over as many people as you were in 2K19, which is kind of sad because I didn't feel like slashing was that OP without takeover. And me personally, I missed a lot of contact dunks anyways, even though I had a 92 contact dunk rating without any takeover at all. So, I mean, it's sad to see that they're probably nerfing slashers a little bit, even though I feel like the only thing that really made slashers OP was the movement in the game, Euro stepping, hob dunking, and then also just having your takeover. That made it really OP, and lobs were really OP. But I feel like, you know, just running into the paint, not on a fast break, but just in the half court and dunking on somebody was kind of rare. So it's sad to see that they're probably going to be nerfing that. But that was pretty much everything, you guys. I hope you enjoyed me kind of breaking down like the new additions to 2K20 and stuff. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. It really helps me out a lot. You can also follow me on Twitter at Evan Hinch. But yeah, thanks, guys, and peace.